Hi there, I'm Namish Patel Owen, and you're listening to Live Your True Self, episode number 101. After 18 years doing corporate, in 2018 it became about doing me, doing what I love. Not that long ago, I too felt stuck, lost, and longing to be something more, asking myself, who am I anyway, and what's my purpose? Full of self-doubt and fear of failure, fast forward to this moment and you'll see a version of me that's true to myself, calm, confident and clear, even in the messiness. Inspired by Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind can be the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So perspective is everything. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey as a high achiever, I'm here to guide you. Together, we'll step out of your head, the busyness in your mind, and drop into your heart so that you too can awaken your true self and live life more meaningfully in this moment. Take a deep breath and let's connect within. Welcome back, lovely one. I'm super grateful you're here. Today, we're diving into something really close to my heart. What it truly means to live a yoga life beyond the mat. You might already know that I've started sharing my work on my YouTube channel, YogaLife with Namisha. And honestly, it's felt like such an aligned shift in my business growth journey. It's really helped me connect the dots between how I live, how I serve. So, my duty, my seva in terms of my work, and how I teach and show up. And there's still so much I'm learning about myself and the platform. But right now, I see it as my digital yoga studio, a sanctuary of goodness, if you like. And you're so welcome there. So this episode was inspired by that space that has been created and that is really unfolding, because yoga life isn't about being bendy or kind of doing fancy poses. It's not just something we do on the mat. For me, it's a way of living, and I'm so grateful to have come up with this approach in terms of how I want to be in this world and how I want to serve in terms of the work I do and the business that I operate within and grow. So it ticks all the boxes for me. So this episode is inspired by Yoga Life with Namisha. So thank you if you've already given your precious time to practice with me, like and comment on any videos that I've shared there. And if you haven't yet, I'd be super grateful if you'd subscribe to the channel. Just search Yoga Life with Namisha or click the link in the show notes and subscribe. And also feel free to share with your friends, colleagues, or loved ones who are also on a path of inner growth and spiritual goodness, because I am here for you. And that truly helps me reach more people and grow this small but mighty business from my heart. So thank you for that. If you're longing for a more grounded, meaningful, and purposeful way to experience the world and yourself, this episode is truly for you. I'm bringing Yoga Life to life just for you. So in today's episode, we'll explore a quick context on the 4 paths of yoga from the Bhagavad Gita. What is Yoga Life from my perspective? I'll share a little bit about my journey into living yoga and how it came about. And I will give you a fresh perspective and some helpful thoughts in terms of how to think about yoga life. And then I will share some simple ways and how yoga life can look for you in everyday moments, and 3 simple ways you can start living it today. Before we begin, I want to offer 2 gentle caveats. First, everything I share here is based on what I've learnt, experienced, and lived through. These are my personal reflections and interpretations. So please take what resonates with you and feel free to leave the rest. You get to choose how you want to be in this life. And Yoga Life is simply an invitation, a loving offering of a different, perhaps spiritual path for you if that feels good for you. Second, when I share what I share, I'm not saying that you have to bring this yoga way of living into everything you do. Yes, you can, and we'll talk more about that, but let's be real, I don't believe that's always practical or necessary in this modern day life that we live. It's more about becoming clear on what truly matters to you and choosing where you want to bring more presence, purpose, and meaning. So, for example, you could choose to do the washing up mindfully with love and awareness, observing your breath and the movements, or you could just get it done and move on to showing up with presence as a parent, as a partner, or as a leader, and focus your time, effort, and energy there in terms of practicing a yoga way of life. Both are okay. It's about choice, not perfection, and not all or nothing. It's not yoga life has to apply to everything, or I'm not good at it, or I'm not doing it. So, with so much love, bear these in mind as we go through. So, take a deep breath and let's begin. The Bhagavad Gita shares yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. You got to sit with this one a little bit. So, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. And from my learnings and my teachings, I've really got to a point of understanding that the meaning of yoga is to join, or like union with reality. And it's an inward journey of finding truth about yourself, about the world, about everything around us. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the teachings describe 4 main paths of yoga, 4 ways that we as spiritual beings having a human experience can connect with our true self and live in alignment whilst on this planet. And let me just share those 4 with you now. So, number 1 is called Karma Yoga, and that is the path of action. And that's all about living with selfless service, doing our duties with love at our best, without ego or attachment to the outcome. So that's Karma Yoga, or Karma Yoga. Number 2 is Bhakti Yoga. And this is referred to as the path of devotion. And it's about living with a pure, and that's referred to as sattvic, a pure sattvic loving heart, surrendering to something greater, right? So devoted to something greater. So that could be God, the universe, a higher source, whatever you choose to believe in, and seeing the divine in all. And so that's Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. Number 3 is Jnana Yoga. And this is the path of knowledge or awareness or even wisdom. So the path of knowledge or awareness, wisdom. And this is all about living with clarity and seeking truth through self-inquiry. So this is about swadhyaya, which is your own self-study and inner reflection. So that's Jnana Yoga, the path of awareness. Number 4 is Raj Yoga, and this is the path of control, and this is about discipline and meditation, and it kind of is about living with inner mastery, calming the mind, practicing stillness, and connecting to the soul through meditation. And there's particular types of meditation that fall under Raj Yoga, but it's all about the path of control. So controlling your senses, your 5 senses, controlling your actions, your behaviors, all connecting back to the unconditioned soul. And so that is the 4th path, Raj Yoga. And we might feel more connected to one path at different times in our life, and we can practice one path, or we can practice all, and you can do them consecutively or simultaneously. Like, all is welcome, but the Bhagavad Gita talks about these 4 paths of yoga that we can follow. And each path is unique. And I've just given you a very, very, very brief overview of each of them, but they all lead to the same place, which is inner peace and self-realization, essentially. So we're not going to dive deep into these 4 paths today. There is so much richness within each, and I promise I'll explore each of them as appropriate in future episodes, because there is a place for that, and I am definitely here to unpack those, because there was a time that I really didn't have any knowledge about these 4 paths, and since learning about them, so much has unfolded for me and become clearer for me. So be patient, my lovely one, and they will come. For today, I simply wanted to share them as context, a foundation for where we're headed next. So let's turn our focus to YogaLife, which is my own way of expressing these timeless Vedic teachings in modern everyday life. So what is YogaLife? Yes, yoga can be practiced on the mat, but more importantly, as I've just talked about in the 4 paths, yoga can be practiced in how we live and how we operate at home, at work, in our relationships, in anything and everything we do, in how we cook, how we eat, how we walk, how we do our chores, how we do the washing, how we, everything. It can be practiced in anything and everything that we do. At its core, yoga is about how we show up and the energy behind how we show up, right? The energy behind what we're doing. And anything we do from a place of pure love, which, as I refer to in Sanskrit, is sattvic energy. So anything that is done from sattvic energy, not fear or greed, anger, lust, attachment, envy, jealousy, like not any of these things, just from a place of pure love. This is yoga. Any action that we do from an energy of pure love, for me, is practicing yoga. So it's not about poses, it's about presence and this loving energy that we can adopt. And it's about how we live, breathe, and be from a place of love, especially in the ordinary, messy, everyday moments in life. The ups, the downs, the twists and turns. Through all of that, we get to bring YogaLife into practice. And so yoga is not something I do, it's who I'm becoming. And it's worth saying I'm very much a work in progress, and you will always hear me say that. I am also a student of this work, and I always will be. So for me, YogaLife means choosing awareness over autopilot. Right? Is this being conscious, being awake versus sleepwalking. It means compassion over criticism or judgment. It means stillness and pause over struggle and pushing. It means flow over force. It means peace over pressure. It means surrender over attachment. And again, for me, it's a way of walking through life with the free will that we've all been given to choose steadiness, softness, and soulfulness in all that we are and all that we do, no matter what life throws us. The good, the not so good, and everything in between. We get to choose how we show up. We get to choose the energy behind what we think, feel, do, what we say, what we don't say. That is on us, and that is the practice of yoga. So even though it's called quote unquote yoga, and, kind of in the West, away from India and the like, the word often brings up ideas and images of stretching and poses and exercise. And that has a place, yes, but the truth is there's so much more meaningful wisdom and knowledge than just the poses. And as I briefly shared, these teachings are rooted in the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which are the two key texts that I have been taught and continue to study and practice from. And so YogaLife is not just the poses, it's way more than that. But it's worth saying that it's not about following strict rules and ideas and set in stone ways. It's like practices and philosophies for us to follow and for us to make right for us and practice them in a way that feels good for us with where you are in your chapter of life, wherever you find yourself. And it's about remembering who you are and living from that place, from that energy, every single day, in every moment, no matter what is happening in the external world. And when we don't practice YogaLife, right, when we are stuck in our head and we are overthinking and we are overanalyzing and we are judging and we are second guessing and we are operating from a place of fear and scarcity and lack, that's okay. Like, it happens. We are humans and we are conditioned humans, and those tendencies are totally normal, and I feel them all the time. But when we do feel these things, we simply pause, take a deep breath, and gently guide ourselves back to love, back to sattvic energy, and that's YogaLife. So this is what we're doing. So how did YogaLife come about for me? Let me just share a little backstory. It all began back in 2018. I always had this quiet knowing that there had to be another way to do this thing called life, a more meaningful, intentional way, but I didn't know what it looked like or how to even find it. And this came about after having our two kiddos and kind of just feeling at a bit of a crossroads in life, questioning, who am I? What's my purpose? Is this how it's meant to be? These are the kind of thoughts that I was having in my mind. And I just kept on thinking, there's got to be more. There's got to be a better way versus the corporate rat race and the constant chasing and forcing and exhaustion that was happening in my mind and body. And yet I just, continued and continued. And out of nowhere, that particular year, my little boy, Shay, he was 1, and I went back to work after maternity leave. And that year, I got really unwell. And it was nothing to do with nothing, but we went on holiday and I came back with a bug, like 3 different viruses, and just on my knees. But anyway, that was my teacher. In that space of stillness and searching, something shifted. And in 2019, I signed up for a 7-day monk challenge at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in Watford, the beautiful Hare Krishna temple. If you've been there, and if you haven't, oh my gosh, I highly, highly recommend it. Beautiful experience, lovely day out. You will feel like you're in a sanctuary of goodness, tucked away in a beautiful rural part of Watford. And during that experience, I was gifted the Bhagavad Gita, the actual book. And it's the first time, I'd known of it, but it's the first time I actually had a hard copy of the book. And for the first time, I was actually taught its wisdom and got to experience it. And it was brought to life for me in a way that I had never known. And I remember sitting with, this sacred book in my hands, feeling like I'd just been given something so powerful, so pure. And when it was described as the guidebook for life, something clicked. And I just remember thinking, like, why have I never read this book? And, it's part of the Hindu culture. And, you could argue that it is a religious text. But I'd never had a copy. No one had really talked to me about it or taught it to me. And I was just like left wondering, like, why? Why have I not known about this? And how have I only just found this now? And I think I was around 38 at the time. So it was like, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And it felt like I had finally found the compass, you could say, like the way. And I didn't even realize I was looking for it. And this text and the teachings just opened something up for me. It spoke to my soul. It showed me a different path. It showed me how to live this one precious life with more peace, presence, and purpose. And that's what YogaLife means to me. And so this episode is actually a continuation from last week where we talked about celebrating failures, because for me, living a yoga way of life is exactly how I see through those moments. And I touched on it in the episode, which is why, it was like quote unquote failures, because this is what happens in life. And we just get to, as I say, notice and catch ourselves when we're not practicing a yoga life and being attached and being, not who we want to be, all the tendencies I described before. And we gently get to guide us back to an energy of love and purity. And it's how I meet the ups and downs of life, not with fear or force and, just this perhaps victim mentality, which perhaps I might have done previously in terms of, this, why me, and life happening to you versus life happening for you. And that's a Tony Robbins concept. But just meeting life's ups and downs, not with fear or force, but with just like this deeper awareness and surrender, essentially, right? Just letting go and just being with what is and accepting that this is how it is. This is how it was meant to be. And I've always shared that idea here on the podcast. You would have heard me say, everything happens for a reason, and it is what it is. But it's who we become in the process is the gold. And so from that 7-day monk challenge, so much unfolded, so much came about, including, setting up the business. From that sort of chapter, I then went into all sorts of areas, and, here we are. Even this podcast, it came about from a place of really tuning into the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and being able to live our true self and connect with our true self, and not all the limiting beliefs and conditioning and thoughts that hold us back from being who we want to be. And now, after a number of years, and after becoming a meditation teacher and completing my yoga teacher certification with Arhanta Yoga School, it really feels like something deeper is being channeled through me. And yes, I have goals and a strategy and all the things in terms of, managing and running a business. And yes, I take action and I do my duties as best as I can in sattvic energy. But beneath all of that, there's something bigger guiding me. This is what I believe. Something is being channeled through me, something I can't always explain, only feel, and like hand on heart, there are tears and there is just pure joy and there's everything in between. And this is the experience I'm having, but it's real. And so I'm grateful to share it with you. But have you ever had that sense like that there's a deeper current, or, like something just running deep beneath your to-do list and your day-to-day activities, and it's gently guiding you towards something bigger, something greater, something more aligned with your true self? If you're experiencing this, you are so in the right place. This is what is happening. So anyway, that is the backstory of practicing YogaLife. And so once I have uncovered this way, it's become who I am, and it continues to evolve even in this podcast. So here's how I'd invite you to think about yoga and YogaLife from this moment forward, if you are open to it. Yoga is a way of being. And this is what the thoughts that I would invite you to adopt. Yoga is a way of being. It can be practiced. So YogaLife can be practiced anywhere, at any time, in any way. Right? You can do it for any of the actions that you do day in, day out. And I described some of those earlier on. It begins with love in your heart before any thought, any feeling, or any action. Right? It begins from an energy of pure love, sattvic energy in your heart. And that is something that you can bring up and cultivate simply by putting your hands on your heart. And I always just keep referring back to that in my posts, in my comments, in my coaching with my clients. We always just connect back to our heart, because that is where our true wisdom lies. And when we connect with our heart, we access love, we access purity, we let all the noise just melt away, any scarcity, any fear, any lack. And we let our heart guide us before taking any thought, any feeling, any action. And I would also invite you to think that YogaLife is something that you can practice, right? I can practice a YogaLife if that's something you choose. Because I practiced the alternative and that was really painful. So I don't know another way actually of living this life apart from a YogaLife. And so if you're here, I really hope that you are open to practicing a YogaLife. And if you are, then I am here to guide you. We will walk this path together. And believe me, I am right here with you side by side. But YogaLife, living a YogaLife can look like taking a deep breath before responding. Right? And this is very much a tool that you can use in order to respond versus react. Right? Simply taking a deep breath. You can even put your hands on your heart before you respond. And that in itself will calm you down, calm your nervous system down, and allow you to respond either from a place of calm, either a place from neutral, and hopefully from a place of love, but certainly not in reaction, not in frustration, not in anger, not in anything other than a place in your heart. Even if you're sad, even if you're disappointed, even if you're frustrated, you still get to respond in a loving way. Yoga looks like grounding your feet and feeling the earth in any activity, right? In anything you're doing. So even as I'm sitting here recording this podcast, I'm grounding my feet. I'm feeling the earth. And you can do that too. So wherever you are, like just ground your feet. Feel the earth beneath your feet. You can do it now. You can do it when you're walking. You can do it when you're sitting. You can do it when you're washing up. You can do it anytime. That is YogaLife. YogaLife looks like sitting with your emotions, right? Like allowing the feelings in your body, whatever they are, allowing them to be there instead of avoiding them, pushing them away, distracting yourself from them, or buffering against them. So YogaLife looks like sitting with your emotions. And that's all the emotions, right? Sitting with sadness, sitting with frustration, sitting with disappointment, sitting with any heavy emotion instead of pushing it away. And it also means sitting with joy and happiness and excitement and connection and determination and grit and any of the emotions, right? YogaLife looks like sitting with your emotions, not pushing them away, which is what I did a lot back in corporate, which I think I mentioned in the podcast last week. YogaLife looks like looking after yourself. Right, self-care, self-love, resting without guilt, right? Really taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, being kind to yourself. All of these things, that is YogaLife, because it's the oxygen mask analogy, right? Put your oxygen mask on first before taking care of others, right? So when you take care of yourself, you can take care of others, your loved ones, your colleagues, your work, your dreams with so much more love. And so YogaLife looks like self-care, self-love, taking care of yourself. And additionally, I would say YogaLife looks like speaking kindly to yourself. Speaking kindly to yourself, just like you would speak to your loved ones, to your dear friends and colleagues. We get to speak to ourselves with so much love and compassion and kindness, no matter what, from a place of love, knowing that we're doing our best. Even when we're not doing our best, we're still trying to do our best. Like, I know that sounds like really circular, but we just get to give ourselves so much love and grace, knowing that based on where we are with what we're presented with, wherever we find ourselves, deep, deep down, we're doing our best. And I love the concept that Dr. Becky teaches, and this is a book that I'm reading at the moment, which is called Good Inside. And it's just this idea that we are all good inside. And it's very much from like teaching parents, but just having this idea that all children, no matter what they do, their behaviours and tendencies, good, bad, not so good, not so good, and everything in between, is just remembering this idea that they're good inside. And no matter what we do and however we react, and believe me, I have reacted, I am still good inside. And I really do lean into that, and I would really invite you to too. So that is some ways of living a yoga life, and it's finding the ordinary, in the ordinary life, and in how you move through your morning, how you move through your day, how you move through your evening, how you move through conversations, relationships, in silence. It's found in the ordinary, right? Yoga life is found in the ordinary. That is another thought for you. And you simply just get to come back to it in any moment. And so to summarize that piece, here are 3 simple practices to start living yoga life today. If that feels right for you, this is how you can do it. Number 1 conscious breath. And we can do it now. Take a deep breath in, the deepest you've taken all day. Feel your belly expand. Pause at the top and breathe out. Just release. Feel your belly relax. Feel your whole body soften. Feel those feet on the ground. 1 conscious breath. Each day, take a minimum of 1 slow, deep breath, like with so much awareness. Breathe in fully, expand your belly, and then fully relax your belly. Like breathe out fully and relax your belly, and notice how it feels in your body. And you can take a deep breath before taking any action, right? Before writing the email, before greeting your children, before opening the door, any door, going into any room, entering your house, leaving your house, entering your car, like a conscious deep breath. Because we're breathing anyway. Like it's going to happen. It's habitual. Our body knows what it needs to do because we are here. And as long as we're breathing, we are here. So it's going to do it. But when you do it consciously, oh my gosh, something shifts. And I hope you just felt that right here, right now. Number 2, move with meaning. Whether it's a meditation practice, a walk in nature, a particular activity or task at work, in your business, cooking a meal, let yourself move with meaning. Let your movement, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever activity you're doing, whatever action, come from a place of love. And you have to activate that, right? You have to find the love, but you're doing the movement from a place of meaning. And when it's from a place of meaning, you just go to a different level and everything just becomes just a little bit more sacred, which is just so beautiful, right? Number 3, 1 kind word to yourself and 1 kind word to another. And you can do it the other way around if you want to. You can do it to another first and then to yourself, doesn't matter. But 1 kind word, say 1 kind word to yourself, 1 kind word to another. And that is a simple practice to start living a yoga life for me. So each day, say something loving and gentle and kind to yourself, like you're doing your best, or you are enough as you are. And actually feel the words, right? You can say the words and, affirmations are great and they have a place, but it's the feeling behind the affirmation that brings the shift, and that truly counts. So say these words until you feel a shift in your body. And again, put your hands on your heart, right? And this is like practice 0. I've shared 3 practices. Practice number 0, even if that's a thing, is hands on your heart. Like, connect to your heart in whatever way feels right for you. For me, I put my hand on your heart. For you, it could be thinking of a loved one or thinking of something that brings up a feeling of love in your body. And when you feel that, and then you practice the affirmations, it will really sink in and you embody it, versus you're just saying words and your brain responds with, no, you're not. And that's not what we want, because the brain can be loud sometimes. So one kind word to yourself and then one kind word to someone else. And I know we're really good at this, so that is not going to be an issue, but that is practicing YogaLife, right? Just words of kindness. And it can even be a smile to a stranger. It could be wishing someone well. And I find myself doing this a lot. And I forget where I learnt this. In fact, it was in the 7 laws of the 7 spiritual laws by Deepak Chopra. And I did a podcast on that, so it's in there. But there was one particular practice, and he talked about just wishing people well. And since then, I find myself, like, anytime I notice something or someone passes me and I'm in a more conscious state, I will just wish people well. And even this morning, actually, I was driving Naya to school, and I saw on the path there was a dad and a little child on a bike, and he had a little seat, and the baby was in the seat, and he was pedaling. And there was a little girl, and she must have been about 4 or 5, and she was on her little scooter, and she fell. And I literally caught the moment she fell, bless her, and the dad had stopped or whatever, but of course he's trying to keep the bike still because he's got the little baby or the toddler on the seat. And I literally just stopped the car, slowed down, and just wished her well. Like, there was nothing I could do. By that time the dad had got out, but and the girl was up. You could see that she was teary, but she was up. But I just remember, like, I just wishing her well. And like, for the next sort of, 30 seconds, a minute, I was just like, I wish you well, wish you well, wish you well. And I then just ended up wishing so many other people well in the process. So this is living yoga life, my lovely one. This is what happens. It just becomes who you are. So there you have it. This is yoga life. And I think you've probably picked up the passion and the energy I have behind it, and the fact that I could probably ramble on so much more. But here we are. I hope this has sparked something for you. Share with me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Drop me an email, reach out to me on social media. Just connect with me and let's have a conversation. Like, what sparked for you? I would love to hear that. Share it in the comments in the podcast for sure. For a long time, I also saw yoga as something I practiced on the mat, but it was a workout, it was physical, it was like exercise and a way to stretch and, unwind and de-stress. But as life brought its curveballs, the sickness and the period of transitioning from 18 years in corporate to finding myself, connecting with my purpose, starting a business, parenting, grief, perimenopause, the highs and lows of running and operating a business, I have realized something super powerful. The real practice isn't in the pose. it's in the pause. YogaLife is teaching me to connect with my heart, connect with a place, an energy of love, breathe through the hard moments, breathe through life's challenges, to trust the timing, to trust something far greater than me. For me, it's Krishna. For you, it could be something else. That's fine. To trust something, a higher source, way bigger than me. And the fact that we are co-creating. I do my bit, he does his bit, and life unfolds. And it's really teaching me to soften and to flow where I once used to force. Right, let's just be clear, and be impatient. And sometimes I notice it and it still comes up, and that's okay. But yoga is teaching me more and more this calmer, gentler, grounded way of being. And it's given me a much more meaningful way of being, and that's becoming my way of living. And that's becoming my work here on the podcast, in Yoga Life with Nimisha, on YouTube, in my coaching, in my teaching, in my parenting, in my role modeling for my two beautiful children, in my relationships, like in all my life, in how I show up. And I am so, so grateful for that. And that is why I feel called to share it with the world and with you, my lovely one. So thank you. And a final word that I will say is that yoga is not about escaping life and, feeling the calm and the grounded when you're on the mat. And I know we do, and I know we can, but it's also about feeling calm and grounded and embracing yoga off the mat in day-to-day life, in day-to-day activities, and navigating through the day-to-day challenges with awareness, with compassion, with love, with sattvic energy. I leave you with this gentle question, lovely one. What might shift if you brought just a little more yoga life into your day-to-day? Right? Out of some of the practices that I shared, the 3 simple practices, what might shift if you brought just a little bit more yoga life into your day? Contemplate on that, see how it feels, and as I say, reach out to me and let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for being here and tuning in. If this episode spoke to you, I'd be truly grateful if you'd subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, leave a comment, or share it with someone who's ready to live a more meaningful life and looking for perhaps a different way of being, to see if this might spark something for them. And as a reminder, if you haven't already, come join me on YouTube, Yoga Life with Nimisha. It's growing and it feels good. And I would love to hear what you want to see on there. What do you want me to share? Let me know. And I would be so honored to guide you through that. Your support, as always, helps me grow, and it means so, so much to me. I will see you next time. Until then, keep shining your light, and may you always live your true self. Namaste. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. If you're ready to go deeper into your spiritual growth journey, visit me at nimishapatelowen.com to learn more about my work and how I can guide you. And be sure you're signed up for Yoga Life Weekly, your love note to inspire who you're being while you're doing. And also subscribe to Yoga Life with Namisha over on YouTube for simple, practical meditations and teachings you can live by every day. It's an honour to guide you in reconnecting with who you truly are. Bye for now.